Yeah. Get excited.
Yeah.
Get excited, everybody. Because we got a card. We have a UFC card coming up in about 30 minutes time. 11 fights, a main event with a lot of stakes, and a card that is just not great on paper, but the matchups, some of them are very competitive. I think we're going to get some finishes, a couple of exciting scraps. The potential for a snoozer or two is there as well, but listen, there's worse things we can do on a Saturday afternoon / Saturday evening, and that's where we are here. We are getting you ready for UFC Vegas 69. This is the People's Pre-Fight Show on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel. I am Mike Heck, and joining me on the ones and twos, the baddest stash in MMA, Casey Leydon.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy? How we doing?
I skipped mixed martial arts sparring. I should be in the gym right now getting my face punched in, but I'm here with you guys to talk about UFC Vegas 69 and this wonderful one fight card.
Priorities. Casey. So if you're new to this, it's the People's Pre-Fight Show. It is exactly what I say it is and what we say it is. It is your questions the entire time. So we could talk about UFC Vegas 69. That'd be preferred, but I also understand if you would maybe want to talk about other things going on in MMA, but it is your show, and we're going to go until the first fight kicks off a little after 4 p.m. Eastern. So what are the peeps saying? Let's get right to this thing.
I have not looked at any of the questions, so I'm just going to just start picking them out.
What's up, Brandon?
What's up? When's Casey? No, we're not going to talk about me, guys. Let's talk about the professionals. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Do you think Islam cheated? Does it matter?
No question marks. Islam cheated! Exclamation point.
Do you think Islam cheated?
Cheated!
Look, it doesn't matter what you think or I think or Casey thinks or anybody else thinks, because there is no evidence that he did cheat. Our own Stephen Morocco reached out to the commission, and they have also said there is no evidence of not just Islam, but anybody on the UFC 284 card using an IV or cheating the system in any way. So we've done our due diligence. The commission themselves says there's no evidence that anybody on the card used an IV or cheated in any way. So based on what we have and that information, I will say, no, I don't think he cheated. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, we got nothing. We have nothing, literally nothing. And even the commission said he didn't cheat. So, or no, there's no evidence that he cheated.
Is it an Australian commission? Is that how it works out there? Or
yeah.
Is it,
the Western Australian Commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the biggest nothing burgers in a while. Just why are we still talking about this?
Look, if there's proof and the video pops up and Islam's taking an IV and he's not supposed to, then yes, he should be punished, strip him of the belt, all of those things. But we don't have any of that stuff, so it's all we're doing is speculating and guessing. And in some people's cases, because I've seen it a lot, because there's a lot of Volkanovski fans out there, and I get that. Some are kind of hopeful that maybe we get some evidence, but we just don't have any. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But how does this affect the pound for pound rankings?
Should we do an immediate rematch?
Yeah. All right. Here we go. I like this question.
The BKFC event last night was awesome. What did Mike think? It was awesome. Look, BKFC is not for everybody, and I get that. And there's times where I watch it and it makes me a little uncomfortable. But it was, I mean, I told Stephen Morocco last night, who was running the desk, you want to throw me on a BKFC card to cover it? I will do it anytime you want, because that card was ridiculous. It was already ridiculous where it was. Just all the finishes in the main card. The Diego Sanchez Austin Trout fight was kind of sad. I think Diego was a little more competitive than some people thought. But the one thing I was concerned about was Diego's just so damn tough and he's so damn durable, even at this point in his career. I just don't want to see him take a lot of punishment and a lot of damage. And he took a lot of damage last night. He got pieced up by Austin Trout. And I think it was a mercy stoppage because that just wasn't going to get any better for him. And then we get to the main event because that fight just kind of like this card was at 0 to 100. This is at like 125. And then we get to the Diego fight. And I think the MMA fans watching it, it dropped to like an 80. And then we go to the main event and Mike Richman is just putting the wood to Lorenzo Hunt. And he has him staggered and just keeps lighting him up and he knocks him down. And I'm like, holy shit, Mike Richman is about to become the light heavyweight champion, like the unified light heavyweight champion. And then Lorenzo Hunt gets back up and literally the next punch he throws, he sleeps Mike Richman. And I yelled. I woke up my dog. My dog started barking because I yelled so loud. I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? That event was insane. And it was a good night for BKFC. Greg Hardy got knocked out. I know that made a lot of people happy. By Josh Watson, who, by the way, I'm going to be speaking to in a couple of days. I think on Tuesday I'm talking to Josh Watson, so you'll get his thoughts, get to know him a little bit better. But to me, this is an A-. This is an A- card, Casey, and that's a pretty high grade.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I am actually really impressed how Bare Knuckle has, with each show, not each show, but each few months, I feel like their product and the quality of fights, everything's improving. Like there's little improvements each show. Just the commentary, the lighting, the camera work, everything. It's just little improvements, and Bare Knuckle's a thing. I'm not one of those people that think it's too violent or anything. So I actually think MMA is more violent than bare knuckle. But I understand. I get the aesthetics, the blood and everything does look bad. But it was an awesome card in the main event. Like, that was.
I still can't believe that knockout. I still can't believe it.
I know. It was so fast in real time. I was like, I didn't even know what happened. You just like. And then you see the replay. It was just that was incredible. And the fact that was the main event and everything, great night. Oh, and that poor young lady that twisted her ankle real bad.
Trish Sagala.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was nasty. Yeah, those things. That's not bare knuckle related at all. That's just one of those things that happen in combat sports. People fall down and you just kind of But if you get a chance, check it out, watch it. Great,
I know. I mean, we don't like to peek behind the curtain too much when it comes to like traffic and headlines and all that stuff. But this card is going to kill the UFCs in terms of traffic and actual interest in it. When we look back on the weekend that was, and we compare traffic numbers between BKFC card and the UFC card, I would be stunned if BKFC didn't triple up on the UFC in traffic.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that because
happens all the time.
I don't really look at our numbers that much, like that kind of stuff. But wow, why do you think that is? Because clearly UFC is bigger than bare knuckle, but why do you think that is?
I mean, this weekend in particular, there's just bigger names on the BKFC card. You had Diego, you had Greg Hardy.
Oh, John Dodson. We've talked about John Dodson's not.
John Dodson. I forgot about John Dodson.
Jeez, that was amazing.
He looked ridiculous too.
He is so good at bare knuckle.
Him and Mike Perry, I think were made for BKFC. Those are two perfect additions. And apparently Perry's got a massive fight coming up that's gonna no one's telling me anything about that, but everyone has told me, and I know Mike talked about it on the broadcast last night, that when we hear the name, we're gonna be like, whoa, that didn't see that one coming. And then Chad Mendez on that card in April too. Apparently there's gonna be a fun one for him. We'll see. But great night for BKFC.
Ooh, could we get Austin Trout, Mike Perry. We'll see. We'll see how far Austin Trout goes in this.
Dude, him and Palomino, sign me
Oh
up
yeah.
for that. Sign me up for that.
Yeah. Real quick on Diego Sanchez. His curse is now that he's so durable. That's actually an issue. Because he is so durable, he just takes the worst beatings. It was just like at least Greg Hardy isn't durable. Greg Hardy will try to hit you hard, or he'll get hit hard. He'll just go out, and he's done. Like Diego Sanchez, outside of Matt Brown's vicious elbow, has Diego Sanchez really been kind of knocked out? I can't really think of a time.
I mean, BJ beat the hell out of him, but other than that,
But even then, the fight ended on a cut. Even the BJ fight ended on a cut. Like the Trout fight technically kind of ended on a cut.
If there's one knock I really have on BKFC, it is the match. It is matchmaking certain times, and this fight last night was a perfect example. Like as soon as we saw this matchup, we were all like, "Oh no, why are we? Why are we doing this? Why are we putting him in there with Austin Trout? It makes absolutely no sense." So the last time he had been knocked out before that, he was knocked out in 3 out of 4. Joe Lozon, Ally Quinta, and then the Matt Brown elbow from hell. And then, still it hasn't been finished since.
Yeah.
And I think those are the first times BJ Penn, Dr. Stoppage. I think those are the only 3 times he's ever been finished before last night, which was also a Dr. Stoppage, just like the BJ Penn one. So, yeah, I don't mind watching him again. Like, I'll still feel a little icky about it, but, like, come on. Let's just give him...
Don't give him Austin Trout. You got to give him...
Yeah,
I don't know. There's
plenty of bare knuckle guys at 170. Just throw him in there with somebody that, like, will just scrap with them. Or someone he's just not Austin Trout. I don't... Like, if someone finished him with one punch, like, it'll make me sad, but I would... kind of rather see that than him get hit 85 times by a former world champion boxer.
Yeah, like just having Diego in the card, just Diego Sanchez fighting bare knuckle was enough. We didn't need to have him fight freaking Austin Trout. That's all. It was just Austin Trout Austin Trout kind of had his own fight, and Diego had his own fight. There was no need to kind of okay, yeah,
for sure.
All right, but overall, great event, bare knuckle, and good job. They're still around and still doing well and getting fighters paid, and it seems to be the fighters who are signing for bare knuckle. They're the ones, at least the ones that win. They're enjoying it. Doesn't really seem to be like any kind of bad blood or bad kind of drama behind the scenes. It's just. Sign the contract, they get paid, they fight hard, and everyone kind of has a good time.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
And if you ever get the chance to go to one of those, go to it. I'm telling you right now, go.
I was at I've been live. I was at Bare Knuckle 1, the very first one, and the second one, and which one? The one in Biloxi, the one of Polly and Artem. No, sorry.
Oh yeah. I covered BKFC 19. That was the Paige Van Zandt, Rachel Ostovich card. And that whole week, it was probably my favorite fight week ever because we got some really cool stuff that week. And then just the fight card was just the weirdest night of fights I've ever seen. Between just people jumping into the ring and fans yelling at people and getting the attention of the fighters. Like, it was just so bizarre, but so much fun.
Yeah, there's a different energy, and I'm not even gonna say it's a bad energy. It's just a fun combat sports energy at these events. It's nothing like like you were there. Yeah, it's fun, and despite what maybe some people want to think it is, pretty well run, pretty professional, like from this event.
Their PR team's really good. I think the one I was at, Hector Lombard and Tyron Woodley almost got in a fight. I met Tony Khan that night, Ariel's best buddy. He was with Christian, the Kristen Cage or whatever. Got to talk to them for a few minutes. It was fun.
All right. Okay. Now back to the UFC card.
What underdog sticks out the most? Jim Miller is yours. I think Jim Miller's probably the.
He's. Oh wow.
He's. It's not a safe answer. I'm. So. Let me look at the betting lines. Where are you at? This is there somebody who sticks out to you as a dog that you think is more live?
Well, I'm picking Blanchfield, and she's the dog. But man, yeah, I'm actually surprised. I know Tapology's betting odds usually aren't the most accurate. What do you have? What is their odds say for Miller and Hernandez?
Hernandez minus 215, Jim Miller plus 185.
Okay, yeah. Am I picking Miller? Yeah, I am picking Miller in this fight. Yeah, Miller. What else?
I think there's a lot of live dogs on this card. Like if you look at my picks, like I'm either gonna have an incredible incredible night where I beat everybody who had 5 wins, or I'm just gonna get slaughtered. I just think some of these betting lines are way closer. Like I think Pauga Jordan Wright is way closer than minus 182 plus 235. I think Jamal Pogue's minus 255 against Josh Parisian plus 215. I think it's a closer line than that. Knight Prachnios probably where it should be. Miller's a good dog, but I could see Hernandez being the favorite. Bueno Silva, Landsberg's lined where it should be. Ashkaboff Emmers, I think, is about right. Sadikov Evan Elder, I think, is a closer fight than the betting lines say. I think Philippe Lin's OSP is closer. I think AJ Fletcher Themba Garimbo is closer. And I think the opener is right around where it should be. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say OSP, and I'm not confident. I'm not confident like any picks at all on this card. I'm going with Alexander Hernandez. Why, Casey? Why am I going with Alexander Hernandez? Because much like you have a pick villain in Jan Blachowicz, I have a pick villain in Alexander Hernandez. I pick wrong for his fights every single time, and when I believe in him, I pick him and he loses. And when I don't believe in him, I pick against him and he wins. And then it's just so strange. And this one, like, I just feel like Jim Miller is going to beat him. So because Alexander Hernandez, I'm going against my gut for the first time in a Hernandez fight. And I'm going to pick him to win, but not confident at all.
What was the original matchup for this? Miller versus who?
Mowgli Benitez.
Mowgli Benitez. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm just all right. I like this fight more. I just didn't. I think it's better for Hernandez that it's on the short notice. I feel like I don't know. As long as he can make weight healthy, I don't know. I feel like he fights. I think maybe I'm just going on the little bit of history we have on him on short notice fights. That seems to be his MO. All right. More Jim Miller.
Who is the best opponent for Jim Miller at UFC 300? So my pick, because we got this, AK and I got this question for on to the next one, like an Ask Us Anything. I'm picking Max Holloway as my pick.
What's the approximate date that UFC 300 will be? What are we? I know someone's kind of done it before.
It's going to be next
late next year.
So 285 is March, 286 is March. So 287 April, 88, 89, God, late 99. So it's going to be like March or April of next year because we might have another month with 2 pay-per-views. It wouldn't stun me if that happens. Yeah. So I'd say like March, April.
So it's not, not that far away. So, but just call it 12, like 13, 14 months. Ooh. Man, okay. I just hope that means between now and then, Jim Miller will probably have at least two more fights, or one more fight.
Maybe 2.
I think if he loses tonight, maybe one more fight. If he wins tonight, then maybe 2. I'm just scared that for some reason if he loses bad tonight, and then he loses maybe bad the next time. there could be no UFC 300 for him. I just don't want to see that.
Oh, dude, he could lose. He could
You don't
fight
think
every month and lose, and he'll still fight at UFC 300. He'll be
they
on
would
that
just
card.
all right. It would just
You can't ignore it now. 100,
I-
200. We got all the way to 300. And he's stuck around this long and is performing well. I don't care what happens. He's fighting on that card. He could pick his opponent. He could fight for the belt if he wants.
Okay, there we go. Jim Miller, UFC 300 against Islam. There we go. For the belt. Let's just do it. That's my pick, guys. It's official.
All right, there you go. There's no wrong answer here.
No wrong
Jim
answer.
Miller on that card. There's no wrong answer.
It is what, like, I wonder the people that actually work at the UFC outside of, say, Dana. I wonder how many of these people actually know who Jim Miller is, in the sense that because like he's had to be there so much longer than the actual employees, for most of the employees, and just the new people that the new staff that works at UFC. I don't know, just
He's probably like Jim. There's probably like second generation UFC employees, and Jim Miller like worked with their parents, and now they work for the UFC.
All right.
How good does it feel to see Greg Hardy get KO'd? How good did it feel, Casey?
Immediately after it happened, I'm like, oh, we're gonna see Greg Hardy on Power Slap. that's immediately.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, why wouldn't we see that? There's really no reason. The way Dana seems to be going all in. Well, he went all in for Greg Hardy. He's going all in for Power Slap. So why not just double down on your losses?
It was crazy. I mean, most of the reaction was, and look, I have the same feeling as most about him, just because of his everything, but just the moment was just so shocking, because I just didn't see it. Like the first round, I'm like, all right, you got saved by the bell, but Greg's just gonna kind of piece him up and finish him in the second, and then Watson just slept him, or almost slept him. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, didn't see that coming. But you knew it was over. As soon as Hardy went down, you knew the fight was over. So it was crazy.
It reminded me, I don't know which knockout it was in the UFC, where like maybe it was Ty, when like it wasn't even like a punch that knocked Greg Hardy out. I feel like the guy's just, his forearm just hit him on the side of the head. It was just like the guy just started just swinging like that, just kind of bounced Greg's head in between his arms. Yeah, it was. I always say this at Greg Hardy. He was. They say he was 290 something pounds, and he's like 6'5" or whatever. It's crazy watching him fall. That is a lot of mass coming down. So just from aesthetically, it's fun to watch. That's for sure. Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere he had to cut 25 pounds to get to like 295 and a half or whatever you weigh.
Oh, wow. So geez. So he's walking around like 320 or something like that. Geez, three. All right. All right. Here we go.
Will there ever be a time judged?
Oh, sorry.
Will there be a time a judge gets held more? Okay. Will there ever be a time a judge gets more held accountable?
Wait,
huh?
I misread this too. Sorry.
I assume this is a judging question.
Yeah.
Will judges be held more accountable for their horrible judging? Maybe they should be tested, but you said it too. No, they're not going to. And it's, again, I've said this a million times. There is like literally no upside to being a judge. They're children that are like 5-6 years old right now are not watching documentaries on MMA judges and then immediately thinking to themselves, you know what? That's what I want to do when I grow up. Like, there is no upside to being a judge. Like, who wants that job? It's horrible. Like, it's just the worst. So,
it's the worst. Yeah. And I'll say this too. I did a shadow judging a few years ago back. CSAC did it for Bellator at a Bellator event, where basically we could sit right beside the judge and watch the fights like they do and everything. And it's actually not that fun either, because you can't you've done this before. Like when we can watch the fights as a fan, we can kind of watch the fights as media, and then we can watch the fights as a judge. And when you watch the fights as a judge, it's not really fun because you're staring at different things. It's just like you can't. It's yeah, especially for like 10 fights or whatever. Because I was like did it for 10 fights. It was, well, I know judges don't do it for 10 straight fights, but it's yeah. It's not fun. It's it even takes enjoyment out of watching the fights out because you're just more calculating in your head. You're not really just going, oh man, cool, this is awesome. Whoa, I can't believe he's still up. So yeah. But back to this question, and I've thrown this question out a lot on Twitter. I don't think judging is that bad. Yes, they're like because when we go. How many robberies were there last year, Mike?
Two, maybe?
Two. Everything else was just close fights that couldn't have gone either way.
Yeah. There's just individual there were individual horrible cards.
Individual horrible cards,
but it luckily didn't affect the total outcome.
But the right person won, usually.
Yeah,
the right person won. Maybe you had a weird score. Or whatever, maybe a split decision should have been an unanimous decision, whatever. I know bettors get all kind of weird about that stuff because, but the right guy won. So out of, let's just call it 1,000 fights that we watched last year, 2 of them were robberies. To me, that means judging is overall not in a bad place. I know that's not a fun take, but what do you think?
I mean, I don't think it's in a horrible place. I think it's just individual cards, and I think people have these fixes for it that they think, like the open scoring thing. At first, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool, and then I saw it, and I was like, all right, it's still like kind of cool. But for people to think like it's just going to fix judging, it's not. It's like literally not.
I am so pro open scoring, but open scoring has nothing to do with bad judging.
100%.
They're different. They're different things. That's all.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. So to answer the guy's question, no. Yeah.
I mean, I would love to. Like, I
wish they did the media. Yeah.
When Crosby did that 50-45 for Sabatello, like he should have had. Like, I'd love to see a judge go to the press. Like, if a bunch of us are covering UFC pay-per-view and one judge dissents and it like costs everybody the fight and people are up in arms about it, like the media should be like, hey, can we talk to that dude and just ask him a few questions? And it'd be cool to just have them like lay out their answer. Why did you score for them? Or, go back and watch the fight and then talk about it. Like, I think there should be more accountability, and I would kind of like to see it from the referees in certain cases as well. Sometimes we get it. Like Mark Goddard will come out and react to stuff, and Herb Dean will occasionally do an interview and talk about it. And I would like to see a little more accountability across the board, but I honestly don't think judging is that bad. I honestly, and I'm not blaming all the referees. Like, this is just the world we live in. I think refereeing and like rule sets within a refereeing scope is in a worse place. It's in a worse place when it comes to allowing fouls, like when to make the calls, when to not, when to take points, when to not. And it's not completely their faults either. I think the rule set in which the referee has to work within is really tough. It's almost impossible. And some of that has to do with the scoring too, because of this awful 10-point must system, which makes no sense in MMA. It makes no sense in MMA. This is just the world we live in, folks. Like, it's not going to change. Like, none of this is going to change.
Yeah. I think judging overall is not in a bad place. But I hate the actual 10-point scoring system, which creates a lot of bad scores because of the parameters that we kind of force upon these judges. And that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So
like the Volkanovski fight was not a robbery. It's not. The right guy won that fight. It was 48-47 Makhachev. I don't even hate 49-46 after watching it multiple times. Maybe Zubair, I still haven't gone back and watched the Zubair fight, but apparently that was like most people felt like that was a robbery, much more than it seems like outside of Volkanovski fans. and people who don't like Islam. It seems like the Zubair one was much more egregious based on how people reacted during 284, but I don't know. I don't think judging is as bad as most people think it is. I'm with you.
Yeah. Is this true?
Thoughts on Nevada not sanctioning bare knuckle, but sanctioning slap? Yeah, bare knuckle's not approved in Nevada, which is ridiculous.
That is insane, and that makes no sense.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, just follow the money. I'm sure if you follow the money, then it starts making more sense.
I mean, I think it will eventually, but
is slap fighting sanctioned anywhere else in the country?
I don't think so. I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah. I didn't even think it had to get sanctioned because it's not a combat sport. It's not a combat sport because you can't defend yourself. So it's just people hitting people. I don't even know slapping. I don't know. Okay, sorry. I don't want to talk about this.
No, it's all right. It's all right. The rate. It's just so funny hearing.
I didn't realize this. I didn't realize bare knuckle is actually not sanctioned in Nevada.
I mean, the ratings are just getting. I mean, their ratings are embarrassing. I mean, they are embarrassing on television. It's so bad. It's so terrible. Just the worst. And this, luckily, and Dana's talked about it. I love when he says, we're keeping half the AEW audience. You know, we can see the actual ratings, right? Like, you know, we get these numbers and we can actually see them. You're not holding half of their audience. You're not. But their social media numbers are ridiculous, which is where they're going to find their success. Them being on television, like, and I hope we never have to talk about this again, but like, if I am Dana or anybody involved, like, why would you shop this on television? Why don't you just put it on YouTube, like your own YouTube channel? Just put the shows on freaking YouTube. Like, this is a social media grab. All your success is going to be on social media. It's not going to do well on television, no matter where you put it. It's never going to do well. So, I don't know. But yeah, bare knuckle not being sanctioned in Nevada, but stupid slap is, golly, ridiculous.
Are you slightly offended that, I don't know if that's the right word, that the UFC uses the UFC social media accounts to promote something completely unrelated to Ultimate Fighting? I don't like that at all because it's forced me to unfollow UFC accounts because I just don't want to see that. And I can't, I can block the slap accounts, but they'll still use UFC accounts to promote other things completely. Yeah, a lot too, not just.
I get it. But I mean, I've talked about this before, and I don't know this for a fact, but this is what it seems like. It seems like, and again, not fact, I don't know, but it just, all signs seem to be pointing to, this isn't TBS saying, oh, Dana, I got to tell you, we've had some great ideas come across our desk, but this power slap idea, revolutionary. Here's $100 million. We'd be happy to host this on your network. No, I think this is more of the UFC saying, here's some money. Can we buy this time slot after AEW? Like, let's try. And I think they're using their social media push to do that. Now, if they were on YouTube or on like their own network, or they did it live on IG or live on social media, like, I don't think we would get as much of a social media presence on the UFC stuff. I don't. But again, I feel like this is a cash buy for TBS with hopes that the ratings are really good, that TBS will eventually give them money to have a spot on their television. Same thing as the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. Like, Spike wasn't like, wow, what a great reality show. Here's a briefcase full of money, do your thing. No, they paid for the time slot. Luckily, it worked out and the ratings were great. The finale was incredible. And then Spike was like, all right, we're doing this. We're going to keep on moving. We got something here. So am I offended? Am I sick of it? Yes. Am I offended? Do I understand why I think they're doing it? Sort of, from a business perspective, but I don't really want to see it on the UFC timeline, but I kind of understand why it's there.
It's just so weird because like you would think like the UFC would be like, we're trying to make the UFC bigger. We're trying to make the sport bigger. Yet they're investing money, resources, time, energy, social media, just eyes for something that doesn't push or make the sport of MMA any bigger or legitimate. I don't know. I just can't wait for this to go away. I just can't wait for it to go away.
Yeah, I don't think it is though.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
man. Like the scary part for me is, what if this was actually successful? Like,
I mean, they're, like I said, it's very successful on social media, like super successful, because that's what people want to see. Like, the people who want to see it in short bursts. They're like, most sane people aren't going to watch an hour of this show. They're just not. They want to see, if they want to see it, and they want to see someone just get drilled and drop to the floor, and maybe Forrest Griffin catches them before they fall to the floor. Like, they'll just go on their TikTok channel and just watch clips of it. And those are what's doing very well. Like, the numbers on those are insane, and it makes me scratch my head a little bit. But this is just not a sport that is made for television. If sport, this is not something that is made for television.
When you said sport,
it's not made for television. It's great for social media. Like, I think it's a great thing for social media.
Maybe if it's like, I'm trying to
celebrity slap
fighting. I don't know. All right.
I mean, listen, that's we might have something here.
Yes.
Did Triller go bankrupt? I don't know.
Did it just disappear? What happened?
No, they own BKFC right now.
Oh, they own it? Or
yes.
They are? Oh, you're right.
Remember they're not Dave Feldman announcing the MMA hour?
I forgot. Yeah. So I guess that Triller's just, okay, instead of throwing their own events, they're just now gonna, okay.
It looks like they're trying to go public. This is as of a year ago. But I don't, like, it's kind of like, I'm trying to compare it to something. It's kind of like Eagle FC when they were in the US. Like, I just had no idea how they were making money in the US when they weren't selling any tickets, and there weren't pay-per-views. No one was spending a dime with them. But somehow they were getting all these big names and putting on these big shows, and I was like, maybe they have great sponsors. I don't know. I don't know how they're making money. And with this Triller thing, like, I just don't know how they're making money with any of the stuff. Like, BKFC was probably a really good investment for them, but their boxing cards, I mean, you had huge names. You're getting musical acts for all this money, but then you book these big stadiums and you barely fill them. Like, I was there for I covered the Holyfield Belfort card in Hollywood, Florida. That Hard Rock maybe seats 2,000 people, maybe. And there was like 900 people there. And freaking Donald Trump was there. And only like 900 people went to that card. It was not a sellout. Nowhere near it.
Who else was on that?
I don't know.
Was that the Tito
That was the
card?
Anderson. Yeah, it was the Anderson Silva Tito Ortiz card.
We got that moment, so thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we did get that moment. Sorry, we had to go through all the other shenanigans, but we did get that moment.
Apparently they're getting sued by a bunch of people, and
Triller is. Oh, they owe a lot of vendors money, things like that.
So reports are saying. Sony Music suing Triller for millions of dollars in a breach of contract dispute.
Whoa, wow.
Mike Tyson claimed Triller paid them incomplete or not on time. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, but I just don't know how they're making money.
All right. Back to what's going on in the broadcast?
We're at the desk with Dean Thomas looking tremendous, Alan Joban, Karen Bryant, and they're just previewing. So they're just talking fights.
Yeah, I added 10 minutes to the clock, and they're still talking. So I'm gonna add another 10 minutes. Some of that. All
Thoughts of going through 3 main event changes before arriving at Andrade versus Blanchfield. Welcome to the UFC in 2023.
Yeah. Was
this is better
Santos...
than Kennedy and Tachukwu versus Iwan Kuchalaba, right?
Yeah, this is true. Was Blanchfield always on this card? Or was it the co-main event, and then they bumped it up to the main event? Or is that what it was? Blanchfield Santos?
I don't know if it was the might have been. Might have been. It probably was. Probably was. But it was the only fight that you could put up to the main event spot with what was on the card. So, yeah, I mean, this turned out pretty well, all things considered.
No, everything makes sense about this main event and putting Blanchfield as the main event because they did give her the Molly fight at MSG. I'm not sure it wasn't a pay-per-view portion, but it was definitely a highly promoted fight.
ESPN fight.
Yeah, ESPN fight. So I'm happy they're giving Blanchfield and generally the women flyweights a push because I've kind of complained about this before. You'll have top ranked female flyweights and they'll be like not even on the main card. It'll be like 2 top 5 fighters like on the prelims. So it's good that Blanchfield is getting this push and Andrade too. And so whoever wins this will make their next fight bigger. And it's good that was it the original was it Cheeto and Sanhagen? Yeah, that made all the sense in the world. Moving that to San Antonio, correct?
Yeah, they just should have done it like weeks before instead of being like, "Hey guys, you're fighting in 9 days. We're gonna move you to San Antonio." Like right when they're peaking, getting ready for the fight. Now they're delayed 5 extra weeks to go to San Antonio after they have worked for all these weeks to peak at the right time for the fight. Now they had to stop everything and revamp everything. It's just I kind of felt for him with the timing, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot to think about that. How it's just these guys are training for a fight, so it sucks for that reason. And but luckily, I think everything will work out for the fans and for the fans in San Antonio especially. Because what was the original main event in San Antonio?
They didn't have one.
Oh, they didn't
There's
have one.
rumors about Pennington and Aldana, but
that was never actually.
That wasn't really
rumors.
real. Yeah.
All right. So as far as our thoughts on the 3 main event changes, it's mostly issues of the card itself, not the main event.
Yeah,
I would think. Yeah,
for sure. Because like if they couldn't get Jessica Andrade on this card, boy oh boy.
Yeah.
It'd be UFC Fight Night Pauga versus Wright right now, and yikes.
Why did we get? Okay, that was a day of injury, right? When we got Kennedy. And who was it? I forgot his name. Kuchalaba.
Kuchalaba. Derek Lewis. Yeah, Derek Lewis. Something happened.
Yeah, but that was okay. I'm gonna give the UFC a mulligan on that one because that was an injury. But they are playing a fire with these one fight night cards because
next week's fight night card is 100 times better than this one, and that card is not great either. Yeah. But it's 100 times better than this one.
The main event isn't as good, but the overall card is still 100 times better, right? I think the main event's better for this card. I think that's just personal opinion. Higher stakes, I think.
Tatiana Suarez coming back.
Yeah.
Andre Muniz on the card against Brendan Allen.
Oh, Muniz is next week. Yes, I didn't even know that.
Muniz next week, yeah. I mean, the rest of it's just like kind of fun up and coming fights. Like Ode Osborne versus Charles Johnson is gonna rule. That's a great fight. Jose Johnson Garrett. Like there's a lot of like contender series-esque names on this card. Jordan Levitt's fighting again. Mike Malot's back, who looked really good in his last fight against Mickey Gall. It's not great, but just the fact that Tatiana Suarez is on this card makes just ups the storyline and the interest of it.
Yeah, that's if she looks good in her comeback fight. Did she say she's going back down to 115 though, or is this?
She wants to.
She won't see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But either way, if she comes out, who's she fighting again? I'm sorry.
Montana De La Rosa, which is a great fight. Like that's the perfect opponent.
Yeah, that's yeah, good fight. Yeah, I can't wait for that fight actually. Yeah, and we won't get too ahead of ourselves. Let's see how Tatiana looks before we start going. Oh my God! Yeah, let's see how she looks.
Just from people I've talked to that have like been in the same room with her or have trained with her, they're just like, dude, yeah, they're like, this girl is an absolute animal. Wait till you see her.
And for our newer fans of the sport who may be unfamiliar for her, what fight would you recommend that they watch Suarez to kind of get a gauge for how dangerous she could be for the other ladies in those divisions? I would think the Carla Esparza fight.
That's probably the right answer.
That was one that kind of blew me away because the way Wei Li beat Carla, Suarez even did it more convincingly. I felt like.
The Carla Alexa Grasso is a good one, especially because she's fighting. She's about to fight for the belt, and Tatiana just ran her over.
Yep.
I mean, those are probably the two most recognizable names. The Amanda Cooper fight was probably the one where I was just like, oh my God, I feel so bad for somebody because she just trucked Amanda Cooper. Yeah, she's good. I mean, if she's 75% of what she was before the Nina Nunes fight, she is going to be a problem. She's going to be a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. At 70%, she's already, I think, a top 5 fighter at 70%. Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. All right. This is kind of a funny question.
Why we always do this? The cards are always good, even when the names aren't that famous. Oh my God, are we really doing? Are we doing this? Are we doing this?
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? It's okay. Like, who said that this will not be like an enjoyable watch? But if you're an NFL fan, and there's a Thursday night football game on between two not great teams, why is it okay for fans and other reporters to say, hey, this game's not that great on paper. And then maybe you watch it and it ends up being like a 51-48 absolute slugfest. Not great on paper. Teams aren't that great, but then the game's just really good. Yeah. Like it's okay. Like it's okay to be honest with ourselves looking at this card. This is a 1.5 fight card. It's what it is. Could this be a fun watch? Sure. But I think AK's gymnastics score is like, it's probably generous giving it an 8. That's if this is like perfect. Everything goes perfectly. This will get an 8 out of a 10. But you're asking a lot here. It's okay to judge a card on paper. And it's not nobody's fault here on the broadcast. Like, we're not taking anything away from the fighters. There's just too many cards. There's just too many. And they just get lumped together and we're like, oh, here we go. And then we get to a pay-per-view and it's just like, oh, this is awesome. And then the pay-per-view ends are like, oh, back to the Apex. So I don't know. It's okay to say a card isn't great on paper. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just telling you the truth.
And the fact that you this gentleman wrote, these cards are always good. All right, if you say so. But Daniel, enjoy the fights tonight. I hope you love them. I think we have people walking out right now, correct?
Yes, Clayton Carpenter is about to walk into the hallowed Apex Octagon, and his opponent is already in the cage. All right, well, let's just do main card picks. Are we doing bonus? Is this going to be like a card you see a bunch of bonuses on? Like, do we want to try that?
How messed up is it that this card will have the same amount of bonus money, has the what $6 million whatever dollar gate they had in Perth next. Yeah, I know.
Why do we always do this, Casey?
I know.
Why do we always
do
do
this? I
this?
just come on, UFC, just get rid of this. Finish bonuses. Okay. Okay. Performance bonuses. All right. I'll pick performance bonuses. I'm gonna go performance bonus from AJ Fletcher. AJ Fletcher. Jordan Wright. I'm being positive for Jordan Wright. And fight of the night. Man, I'm just going positive. I'm just going super fan here. The main event's gonna be fight of the night. I think it's gonna be awesome, and I think both ladies will look great. But unfortunately, one will win though.
I'm going main event.
For what? Fight of the night?
For fight of the night. I will go William Knight.
Ooh.
And Clayton Carpenter, who's about to fight.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'll go with. All right, main card picks, and then this fight's going to start. So, Jim Miller, Alexander Hernandez. I'm picking Alexander Hernandez with zero confidence. This is just a vibes pick because I pick his fights wrong every single time. So, I'm going against what my gut is telling me because every time I go with my gut in a Hernandez fight, I get it wrong. So, I'm going Hernandez for the weirdest reason ever.
I am going Jim Miller, submission, round 3.
I'm going William Knight, 3rd round KO against Marcin Prachnio. Where are you at?
Mr. Knight, 1st round KO.
Could happen. Josh Parisian, can he pull off the big upset, apparently, to the betting odds against promotional newcomer Jamal Pogues?
I know very little about these two gentlemen, so I'm going Pogues by decision.
I'm going Parisian by decision just because I think this fight should be lined so much closer. So it's just like a dog shot. I'm going Jordan Wright as well. 1st round KO with
First
no
round
confidence. And I'm going Erin Blanchfield by decision. Yeah, Blanchfield by decision.
I'm going Jordan Wright, 1st round KO with all the confidence in the world. and Erin Blanchfield in an awesome fight and competitive fight, but she will get the submission in round 3.
Oh, that'd be huge. That'd be huge. All right. Well,
I've been on the Erin Blanchfield hype train for a while, so I'm sticking to it.
Well, Ronderos is on top in Clayton Carpenter's full guard right now. And we're about a minute into the first fight. So enjoy, everybody.
Yeah.
Enjoy, and we'll see you later on for the post-fight show, where I'm sure we're going to have a lot to discuss. So thank you very much. Enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll see you later on.